Hey, welcome to another episode of Eric's Camping Adventures. Today we are going to try to install a skid plate on my Honda. I decided since the lift was only 2 inches that made the lift lower and better to protect it just a little bit so that you're going to get a little bit of noise feedback if you hit that plate before you hit something important. So come along with me and we're going to install a skid plate on the front of my Honda Pilot. It is a nolodesigns skid plate by Ian Lupo out of Pennsylvania. So I'm not an expert on skid plates, but we're going to have some fun checking this out and seeing exactly how difficult or not so difficult it is to put this on. So it looks like the first thing that has to come off is this little plastic piece here all the way across in order to access these two bolts right here. To remove the trim plastic pins, I used a small thin screwdriver to get in to pry, and then a trim removal tool to remove with the least damage possible to the pins. It was somewhat difficult to find all the pins underneath in the dark. I tried to do some good lighting before, and some of the pins were more brittle than others. Some broke. It probably didn't help that it was snowing and cold outside. Besides the pins, there are also some bolts that hold the plastic rock guard up, so make sure you check for everything. On each side, you do have to replace 3 of the pins just to hold the plastic bumper cover in place against the radiator mount. Kit comes with a little hardware packet of some bolts with some Teflon washers, and I'm going to try to back out the originals now and just see what happens. These two front braces attach the frame to the radiator support, and the two front bolts have to be removed to attach the skid plate. Further back, there is a frame brace that runs between the unibody frame, and the front bolts have to be removed. They are the back anchor point for the skid plate. It was somewhat bothersome to try to hold the plate up, line up the bolt, and turn it at the same time. If I ever have to take this off for maintenance, I'll use a small jack to anchor one side of it in order to pull it down and put it back up. nolodesigns does recommend that you use some blue thread locker to prevent the bolts from backing out. They base this upon experience, so I followed the instructions. I initially just snugged these front bolts down into the radiator support because the instructions from nolodesigns do specify a torque rating for the front bolts that is different from the rear bolts. So this is the final installed look. Let's go get it outside and see what it looks like in real life. Well, that is the final look. Hey, thanks for joining me for another episode of Eric's Camping Adventures. Come back next time and we're going to do some actual off-road testing with my Gen 2 Honda Pilot.